Hello, hello, everybody. Hi, and welcome. Welcome to Wednesday afternoon at 3D+U. I'm so excited to see you all. Hi, I'm Gigi Fuscamis. I'm the Director of Community Donor Relations. Hey, Christy, for 3D Theatricals. And on behalf of my entire team, I want to welcome you and thank you for joining us for this incredible, wonderful session of 3D+U. This woman, she's just this, not only beautiful on the inside, but she is on the outside. She's just gorgeous. She's the most incredible woman, but an amazingly talented voiceover actor. And so she's gonna share with us today a lot of information about equipment and auditioning and all the things that have to do with this. So listen up and take notes. Candi, Milo, they are all yours.
Hi, everybody. I am so pleased to be here, and I am seeing names and faces. And hi, everybody. I prepared a really great talk for today to explain to you exactly what it is that I do. And if I can explain to you in a way that you can understand what it is I do, a lot of what I will tell you that you need and what you don't need will make more sense to you. So one of the things that I do is that I am a voice actor, and I've been a voice actor since 1985. And I started recording Tiny Toon Adventures in 1987, and that was Steven Spielberg's Tiny Toon Adventures. And I had some great success early on, then took a little bit of time off, and then in like 91, 92, I came back really strong and have worked in voiceover ever since. One of the things that I think that I do very well, doesn't make me smarter, funnier, more talented, prettier, whatever, is that I know how to work well in a group, even if I'm the only one in a room. Because we are not stars. We are behind the scenes, and we are the soundtrack to cartoons. That is what we are. We are the soundtrack. The stars of cartoons are the characters themselves doing what animators call their antics. How funny and how fast the character runs through a scene. That is what makes children and adults laugh. Now, yes, you can have a great voice and you can create a great character, but I think that being a really good actor is tantamount to whether or not you're a success or not. Understanding your position in a script, if you are playing some sort of a sidekick, or whether you're the hero in the script, and understanding your relationship in your audition material that you get, all of that is just, all of that is pure success. So understanding that is what in essence is your job. I want to move on to how I can help you succeed and have you not make this, oh, I'm a bucket lister. I just want to do one commercial and one cartoon and I can die. No. If you want to do this, I am looking at all of you. There's nobody that cannot do this that I'm seeing on here. Not one of you cannot do this. And there's no reason you shouldn't be paid to do it. And there's no reason you shouldn't consider yourself a professional, whether or not you're in any guild or union. The union's job is to protect you, to make sure you can get your wages, to make sure, especially in this horrible time, this scary time of COVID, that you are well protected when you go to a job. And if you have any trouble, you can always call your union. So that's mostly the difference. And then because I'm really old, when you get to be super old, you can collect a pension and then you can make a living in your pajamas. So that's basically what I have to say. I think being a part of animation has been great. I still get residuals from Cool World, which was a show that I did in, which was an animated feature I did in 1991. So it's a career that can serve you for a long time. So there are two things that I wanted to talk to you about: the state of auditioning today and the state of working today. And down the line, when we have a better handle on what's going on, the state of working will change. The state of auditioning will never change. So to be a voice actor, there's a lot of information that I want to give you. And the first piece of information that I want to give you is a friend of mine, D. Bradley Baker, has an unbelievable website where he will answer every question and go into as much geeky detail as you would ever want. And also, it's always very simple. It's called, his website is soyouwantobeavoiceactor.com. soyouwantobeavoiceactor.com. And it is chock full of information. Lots of it I'm going to give to you here. But if you remember nothing, which would make me really sad, other than that, please remember soyouwantobeavoiceactor.com. One of the things to audition, here are the tools that you need. Before you can really get great auditions, unless you're getting them off of non-union websites, you do need a home studio setup. Very few agencies were having people in to begin with. All of the bigger voice agencies were having people at home, do it at home, except really in New York, where people don't have room in their tiny apartments for studios. So all you need is a halfway decent mic, and you could do any USB, a Yeti, a Blue Yeti, an Audio-Technica, and they range from $69 to $169. These are microphones that have a little bit of a gain, and a gain is a volume control on the mic itself. They plug right into your computer. The Yeti comes with software. I'm not wild with the software. I tried it. So I'm not wild with the software that it sends you, because a lot of times it isn't compatible with what an agency or what, who you're sending it to. It's not great. So you need a USB microphone. If you choose not to have a USB microphone, and that's usually Mac friendly, you can get a low-end microphone, Shure, SHURE, again, Audio-Technica, other microphones that you would then plug into something that we call an interface that connects to your computer. So for those of you that do not have USB capabilities, you would get a fabulous mic that connects into an interface. An interface, I'm going to give you two ideas based on two budgets. A Scarlett 212 is about $90, and it has controls, volume control, which is great, because you normally microphones that need an interface do not have a gain control. And actually those are better mics because the gain control is not great. And you really want to be able to control your volume, especially if you're new at this and you're not good at working the mic for volume and screaming and coming in close to whisper. And the other higher end is Apogee, makes a interface, an Apogee Duet, and that is about $700. So if you don't have the capability to have a microphone, that's it. You also need a quiet, deadened space, deadened, D-E-A-D-E-N-E-D, not a dead space, so that you sound as if you are in a padded cell. You want to just have it with some brightness, some snap, that accentuates your voice, but a dead space. And in there will be your computer. Doesn't need to be dedicated, but much like when you get on a Zoom session, you want to turn other things off and close out other programs. Then you need recording software. for many years, I used a sound studio, which I loved. And the drag is that the different kinds of recordings that I could make on Sound Studio, which for a long time was free. It was free shareware. You know, the longest time, I loved it. So I want to discourage you from using Sound Studio and find an inexpensive software program that will allow you to record your voice. Two that I like, that I use Twisted Wave, and I have been off and on for the last 15 years. I really liked Sound Studio, but then I was recording on a 2007 Mac with a $60 microphone. Times are changed. So that's your recording. You have your microphone in a stand, in a place where you can be quiet, your computer, and then your software. For those of you without agents, this is a great way for you to practice reading children's stories, taking auditions where you can find them online, and submitting. For those of you with agents, there was a big push at the beginning of COVID to get state-of-the-art studios. I will again explain to you, you don't need a state-of-the-art studio to audition. But you do need a state-of-the-art studio should you get booked. And if you don't have it at home, you're going to have to go into a studio. I'm opting not to do that because I have a secondary illness and I can't get COVID. I probably wouldn't live. So I'm at home doing my recordings. I sit on the SAG National Voiceover Committee, and the protocols that we put in place are pretty good. I'm still choosing to stay home, but they're great. If you do have an agent, you have the greatest thing that you could do is to send your agency a list of every bit of equipment that you have at home, and that includes the make and model of your headphones. Oh, you need headphones. They range from $20 to $100. I have the $20 ones. So that's it. You'll need to list your microphone, your interface if you need it, the software that you're recording on. And then the next thing that I want to talk to you about is if you are booked or if you are asked to submit directly or you have a callback, there are two programs right now that allow the studio access to your recording programs, and you are in contact with the studio, and the studio and you, the studio connects you with the producers. So they are like an audio interface. The two, but you have to buy the programs. There are two. One is called Source Connect. And those of you who are working, there was this big hair on fire moment where everybody wanted you to get Source Connect, which I did, which is $650. And I have used it a total of once because there is another program that is much more stable, and that it's the program has like a little anagram, and it's called IPDTL, Internet Protocol DTL, IPDTL. And there's a great one, and it's called Connection Open. What I like about it is that it seamlessly can run the cartoon onto my computer in my little closet, which is right there. It can run picture there, and I can record to picture with very little delay, meaning I'm not hearing an echo. Everything is in real time. Another thing for those of you who are recording, and again, if this doesn't mean anything to you, let it pass. But for those of you who are recording from home, I had a static internet, a static IP put from an Ethernet cord that is connected to my modem and my cable box, which is also my cable modem. And then I run a cord whenever I have a session from the living room into my studio. And an Ethernet connection is the most stable for internet. It's pretty great, and I've had very little interruption. So that is auditioning and working from home in a nutshell. So how do we get to there? What you need, I feel, is that you need a great demo tape, and you need to be a pretty solid actor. I work with a lot of, I call them skinny, little tiny skinny face voices, like their natural speaking voice is right here. And they do work, but if I can do that voice and they can't do my voice, then they're very limited. And acting really comes into play at that point. And I have some great VO coaches whose names I'd like to give you. And they are great at coaching you on the craft of voice acting. There are some rules, there are some tips and tricks, and there is a great thing about studying with someone that can teach you how to catalog your characters. I taught for a hot minute and then I bowed out because I was with too many of my students were bucket listers or taking from me so that I would then introduce them to my agent. And unless you're pretty dang special, I don't usually do that because I have a dedicated voiceover agent. That's all they do. So they make their living off of us making our living. And I don't usually send brand new people to my agency because you won't work. And it's very hard, especially right now, to get someone started. However, that said, there are agencies looking and signing. So I just really think that that's important. You have to be a great actor though, and show that acting, not in your meeting with the agents. Your calling card, your card is your voiceover demo. So before we get to voiceover demo, and I have some names for you, I want to talk to you about children under 18. There is a great voiceover coach named Tony Gonzalez. He's a friend of mine and has been a friend of mine forever. He was a voice caster at Disney Animation. He is just a lovely human and he is great with kids, just great. His name is Tony Gonzalez, and you can reach him for anybody you know under 18 at assistant at, but assistant is ASST at kidsvo.com, kidsvo.com, ASST at kidsvo.com. And you can tell him I sent you. He knows that I was going to mention his name today. I don't know pricing, but 18 and under, you cannot beat him. He even knows how to teach children that don't yet read. So that's pretty great. Another buddy of mine, of course, is Bob Bergen, who does the voice of Porky Pig. And together we're on the new Looney Tunes. That's on HBO Max. Shameless plug. I do the voice of Granny. I do all the females. I'm the only female in the cast. And, but he has a 3-year waiting list and he is super expensive. So we both, Bob and I, have been referring a brilliant guy who is Zim on Invader Zim, among a billion other voices, and that's Richard Horvitz. Richard, Horvitz. And he can be reached at richardhorvitz.com. Horvitz, Horvitz. He's super reasonable, super funny. There's something very wrong with him, which is why I love him very much. That's who I would go to, just to learn the art of voice acting. And little v on voice, capital A on acting. Your tapes need to make a difference to catch anybody's attention. And now I want to talk to you about where and how you get voice tapes made. And remember, we're leading up to representation. Do you understand? We're leading up to it. We haven't discussed representation yet. These are the tools that you will need to further your career. I see a friend on here. Her video isn't on, but it's Wendy, my friend Wendy, and her tape is genius. Her demo tape is absolutely genius. What an animation VO should consist of is 1 minute to 1.5 minutes of characters that are vastly different and represent your complete spectrum of the rubberiness of your voice. If you do little boys, which that's my like little wheelhouse there. If you are good at little girls, if you are good at witches, if you are good at older women, if you are better doing teenagers, if you're better for Saturday morning cartoons, or you're better at a flat read for games or prime time, these should be included in your VO demo. And Andrea Romano, who was an 8-time Emmy Award-winning voice director, likes to say that anybody can do a character that already exists. On your demo, they're not looking for you to do impressions unless that's your jam. And if that's your jam, make an entire demo of just the impressions that you can do. But for anybody to do any of the Simpsons, just a heads up, they're all alive and they're all doing their own voices. Thanks so very much. So don't waste your money and your time to impress on people who are still working. But each character should be 10 seconds long. So I want you in your voice classes and in your days to start working on 6 to 8 very strong characters that you could pop up in such a quick instance that you could talk to yourself in the voice of each character back and forth. And those should be on your calling card, which is your voice demo. So here are some voice demo producers. Number 1, Richard Horvitz, which is so great. And I just found out today that he produces demos. And the great thing about Richard, you guys, is that his sense of humor is really great, but he knows he's not curing cancer. So it's easy to work with him. There is no judgment. He takes everybody of all abilities and all challenges, and he's wonderful. Another, and he, of course, Richard at richardhorvitz.com. Another fantastic voice producer is Susan Krell Palio, P-A-L-Y-O, Susan Krell, K-R-E-L-L, Palio. She's on Facebook, Richard's on Facebook, Bob Bergen's on Facebook. She is fantastic. She's in the Studio City area. Ed Cunningham, who is brilliant. The name of his website is you'll love this, edschopshop.com. And it's because these are our chops that we do, which I thought was incredibly cute. So Ed Cunningham, edschopshop.com. Then there is a really good friend of mine who I think his forte is more commercials than animation, and that would be Dave Walsh. And that's Walsh VO, WALSHVO.com. He's got prices. All of these guys have prices. You do not have to be in California to do voiceover. Hallelujah. And there is a guy, Eric Romanowski, who is not in California, who has a company where he can record you from home. He can pull things, if you're already working, that you've done off of YouTube or whatever, sweeten the sound and put together a tape. And his website is Ear Blowing Audio Productions, all one word, earblowingaudioproductions.com. His name is Eric Romanowski. These are the top demo producers with what I would say have the best track record of moving you forward in your career, whatever that is. If you want to continue to just have it be a bucket list and work jobs that you find, so be it. But they are great at doing demos for commercials, for animation, for video games, and for narration. And also there's another great aspect of narration, not only for audiobooks, but there are trade shows and websites that hire voice actors to be the voice of their product. And so they do these great demos. And then the next step in all of this is that once you have you've taken your class, understood where you sit in your body with your voice, understand what your sense of humor is, you have your home set up, you have either access to a studio or plans in the future to have a studio, although I will tell you it looks like in the next month, recording studios and large production houses will be opening up with COVID protocols in place. So I would just tell everybody, hang on. If you book, you may not have to do it at home like me. So the next step is voice acting agencies. This is where the material comes from. This is where you get what we call the copy, your opportunity to audition. You get that from your agent. There are places like Voices 1, 2, 3. I will caution you on places like this, and not just because I'm a Screen Actors Guild member, but I have several friends who have done huge jobs for them and have never been paid, or they have been paid $1,000. And the problem with that is that if you put one of those jobs on your demo and seek representation with that, no agent will touch you, because like as not, you have taken that job from one of their clients who is a union voice actor. So it's a catch-22. Also, usually the Voices 1, 2, 3 has been paid anywhere from $25,000 to $35,000 to find you. And they won't pay you residuals, they won't pay into a retirement fund, and half the time they won't pay you at all. So that's just my cautionary tale. You may go to the Screen Actors Guild website without being a member and find out which agencies do voice work. The really cool thing for new people is that so many agencies pre-COVID that were not doing voiceovers have hired voiceover agents and are now accepting voiceover clients. And casting directors are looking outside of the top 7. They just really are. Also, people who have loop groups, and for those of you that don't understand what a loop group is, when a film or a television show finishes production, a loop group, a group of people come in and walk in a loop, that's where it gets its name, from a microphone, and they fill in the voices in a restaurant. They fill in this voice here and this voice there. And those loop groups are now starting to call smaller agencies. So that's it for the tools and the tips for getting involved. If there are no questions, I just wait. I wanted to see who's in chat because there might be a question. Oh, hi, Winslow. You are the best. Wendy Rosoff is the best. A good friend of mine. I want to talk to you about how we can up your acting and how we do that, and how I used to teach acting off the page. Does anybody have any questions before we get going? I'm going to go into the chat. Oh, what was Hannah? Dave Walsh's email was Walsh, and you have the name spelled correctly, walshvo.com. walshvo.com. And if that doesn't go through, Hannah, because he responded on my Facebook this morning, try dave@walshvo.com. And he is just really wonderful for commercial demos. He's a hard-hitting sort of a promo guy. He has a deep voice. He's just great. He also has a wicked sense of humor, which makes me love him very, very hard. So let me talk to you about this next step. What happens if you get a meeting with an agent and they've listened to your demo, because you've made a demo, because you've taken a class, because you've gotten some equipment. So we're clear how that all goes. I just want to tell you one thing about any meeting in person or on Zoom. Agents are in the entertainment industry, and they became agents because they love actors. And they're not your moms, they're not your dads, they're not your fam, they're part of your team. When you take a meeting, you should be entertaining. And that's just it. You should be happy, peppy people. You need to act. You need to be respectful. I had a very dear friend take a meeting with my agency back when they were taking meetings. And she was thinking that one of the agents and she were getting along really great. And so she became hypersexual in her talk, in the way she was talking, as if they were best friends, and they were incredibly turned off. And that kind of blew back on me a little bit. So I want to just remind you, if you get a Zoom meeting, please remain professional and be joyful and entertaining, because that's your job in that moment. This whole thing of it doesn't feel natural to me now. You know what? Suck it up, buttercup, and just be entertaining. So say all of that happens, or you've decided to do voices 1, 2, 3, and you are getting copy. The first thing that you're going to do is read your copy at least 15 times. At least 15 times. The first 3 times, what you're looking for from me to you is not your lines. You look at everybody else's lines on that page the first 3 times, because that will tell you your relationship to each of those people in that scene. So you're reading, then the next 3 times, I want you to read everything on the page aloud. Mumble it, don't act it. You're not acting yet. You're gathering information. On the last couple of times, and this is before you have circled your lines, anything, you are just reading this at least 15 times. And most animated series are 11 minutes now, because there are usually two episodes in Saturday morning. So in late night or prime time, they're 22 minutes. So there's 1 episode. So it is a page a minute. You'll know if you are prime time, if you have a 22-page script, and you'll know that you are Saturday morning if you have an 11-page script. The first thing you look at when you get your script is what page do you come in? When they sent you what they call the sides, because 4 sides make a whole, so you're getting a side of the script. That's just so we're clear on terminology. You look up in the right-hand corner or at the bottom of the page and find the page number. If you are introduced on page 1, you're a pretty big deal. Now, if your last line is on page 2, you're a big deal and then you're gone. So you're not that big a deal. If you are introduced on page 10, you could be like the October surprise and you are a monkey wrench. All of this thing right there, just looking for the page number, will color your performance, will absolutely color your performance, because you will either need to, if you're coming in on page 2, you have to enter strong, and on page 11 or 10, you have to exit strong. But reading everything, you would be surprised how many people only read their lines. And you would be amazed how many people don't see in the direction. And I'm not talking about, they don't give you any idea when you get a piece of copy how you're supposed to sound. Everything is non-binary, non-gender specific, non-race specific, non-conforming, nothing. They don't care what you sound like. That if you believe it, they'll believe it. So you don't have to worry about that. What you have to worry about is that your slate, when you say, hey, my name is Candi Milo, that your slate slays. That your slate slays. That you are happy to say your name because you are so happy to be in your small closet that's 105 degrees. And you're just happy as a clam. Or like last night, I got a late night thing and I got it at 11:30 and it was due by 11 today, but knowing that I had it in my PJs and I was so excited to say my name and do that and shake my day off and do it. So make sure that your slate slays. Honest to God, it is truly that simple. The next thing that you're going to do is you're going to play. And you are going to do 3 takes that are completely different, slating in between. Take 1, take 2, take 3. And then you're going to listen back. And I got to tell you something. That's the hardest thing. I like to say, not only do I not look like Christy Brinkley, but I don't sound like her either. It's kind of scary. So the hardest thing for me to do after I work is put on my earphones. But what I want to tell you is you cannot judge what God gave you. You cannot judge the sound of your voice. You cannot judge the decisions that you made with all of your best acting intentions, what you're listening for, and you should be reading along as you are taking your copy. And don't watch the screen, which will have like the little thing, the sound wave. Don't watch that. Watch your script and read your script along with, to make sure you didn't miss a line, that you didn't miss anything. I will tell you, if you try it for me and you read 15 times through, you will discover that in the direction where it was Mikey runs really fast and stops short, your next line should be out of breath and coming in like you've just been running. If you ain't read, you ain't due. So you got to read everything, because everything colors your performance. Everything that they're saying, Tony calls Mikey a dweeb, Mikey overhears, and then he has the next line. If you didn't see any of that, you would just be reading like a robot in the cute voice that you decided to do. Or as I like to say, the squeaky perfect voices, girls. and thinking that they sound so adorable, that's all they ever have to be. It does sound great, and if you've already got the gig, that's great, but it ain't gonna get you the gig. The gig is reading and understanding. The next thing on the page is your relationship to the leads in the show. If you are lucky enough to audition for the actual lead in a show, if you are absolutely fortunate enough to do it, that's like gorgeous, because then you set the tone. However, you do have to be authentically you, because any producer and animator can smell BS and a lie from your heart a mile away. And anybody on here who is a fur mom or a mom will just let me know, you know when your fur babies have done it, and you know when your real kids have done it, because it's in the tone of their voice. So know that stuff like that reads. However, if you are the sidekick, one thing that I would ask you to do, if you ever got animation copy, or even if it's commercial copy, take a look at the animator for animation and the production company for commercial, and go to YouTube and watch their stuff. Because animators have a voice, and certain producers, commercial producers, have a sound that they like. Also, like I have this, thank you God, I have this Tide commercial running, and they had 8 million callbacks, like 8 million callbacks, and I never read once with the guy that was my partner. And I was reading for the Spanish spots, because we were shooting in Mexico, and I didn't book the Spanish spot. And the Spanish people who do that Tide commercial look whiter than I do. So just, you just never know. But at the last callback, I'll never forget that my agent, my commercial agent on camera, told me to go online and watch the director's stuff. And what I saw was that he loved people who sat really still, did one thing at a time. And you can see in this Tide commercial, I'm only folding laundry. I'm not doing any of my Candi stuff or my shoulders and my head, but more importantly, my hands. Don't let me give you an aneurysm. That had been going crazy. So it would behoove you that if you ever got an audition, would be for you to look up the animator on YouTube and watch his stuff. And then watch the cartoons and take a look at who's voicing what. Because that animator will have a style and who he likes. Then you can also Google them and find out where these voice actors are represented, so that you would know, hey, do I have a chance here? Well, it's hard for you to be a female and come to my agency, because there's me and Gray Delisle and Kath Soucie and Kate Robrock, and it's really a female powerhouse. Not that you couldn't get it, but you won't get any attention. And it will be hard for them to send you out if you are not one of the top 7. It doesn't behoove you. It's better to go to a small space, a smaller place, where you can be assured you'll be one of the top 7 men or women sent out. I almost lost a friend who had told me that he had signed with an agency. And it was really a wonderful agency. And I said, you're a guy that does video games. They have 12 strong men, and they will never not submit them so that they can submit you. And, it was one of those. And just so you know, 2 years later, he left, and he put it on Facebook that it was like, I just wasn't being sent out. And I'm like, hello, I'm sorry. Oh, hold on, please. Someone told you that. Thanks, that would be me. So that's kind of like my idea of where you want to go and how you can use the tools that you have in your hot hands right now. Google, YouTube, get on Facebook. My particular Facebook is closed because I have my name, Candi Milo, that you can see, and that's open, but it was taken over by trolls, and I can't even log on anymore. It's ridiculous. So my Facebook is private for people that I know, but these people that I have mentioned to you, you could message them, or go better still to go to their websites. So you have a lot of opportunity. Book narration is kind of great. It's paying better. It's not super great money. It's incredibly rewarding, but you are paid per finished page, I believe, if not finished chapter, and it ain't great. But if that's what you want to do, I know that Dave Walsh and gives a great narration. Also, Keith, Keythe, Farley, Farley, is a brilliant video game / narrator coach. He is so beyond kind and brilliant, and also is the writer of Bat Boy, the musical. Oh, hey! Just in case you didn't think that musical theater people were the best in the world. So he's amazing. He is a very good friend. He is also part of the National Voiceover Committee. So he is down in the down and dirty for all of this. But I digress. To go back to the page and go back to once you have recorded your auditions, you would go back and listen. I would encourage everybody, what you do is that you listen, and I would encourage you never to cobble something together, meaning, oh, I loved the end of that take, and I'm gonna slip that in the first one. I would rather, as you are beginner or intermediate, I'd rather you scrub the whole take and do it again with a better and clearer intention that you're hitting the spots that you love, and that you are performing at the level of what you intended for it to come out to be. Because when you start cobbling, I can assure you, ain't nobody in here except maybe one girl who is brilliant at editing. It's still gonna be like, but I was waiting for you. But I was waiting for you. It's like it just, or I was waiting for you. You don't want to cobble. You want to keep your thoughts. When you get better at it, I like to call it voiceover surgery. And I only do that voiceover surgery on my auditions when I'm sad and I'm like, I'll never get this part. And then I do a really good take and the end was awful. And then I try to find a "the" from another take and pop it in. It's sad. That's when you have to walk out and shake it off and then walk back in. So I don't know if you guys have, okay, I'm so excited to see Ed's red iPhone 11. That is the greatest name on the planet. So much so that I want to change my name to Ed's red iPhone 11. I don't know how you guys want to do questions, but I'm open for any questions and anything. Hey, Cheech, I knew you would come back.
Well, I've been here the whole time, but you know, I
saw you.
I don't want to be a distraction to all the wonderful things you're saying. So listen, if you have a question, raise your hand and we'll call on you. You can unmute yourself.
Yeah, there is a microphone that is a USB mic, and that is called, that's you just plug that right into your computer. That's Audio Technica 2200.
Okay.
Audio Technica. Also, you guys, that is a great mid-level, entry to mid-level. And before COVID, Charmaine, that was my mic. And so I've worked for 15 years and booked. I never did sessions out of my house, except for friends, like if I did their demo. And that was my mic. The drag was, I couldn't control the gain on it, but the new Audio Technicas have a volume control on the microphone, but it isn't precision. The next thing is a Shure. I have something that is ridiculous, but I am on 3 series that are allowing me to record from home. Awesome. I have a Neumann TLM 103, which is with tax is a $1,300 microphone. And I want you to know that I laid on the carpet behind me and cried when I had to put it on a credit card. I literally cried. And then I got the Apogee Duet.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I just wanted you to know that that has served me, that microphone served me so well for years and years and years. And so I got her that for her birthday last September, and it's been great. And then, you know, she was watching me twist into a pretzel, building at almost 60, building a studio in my house. Me on a ladder is just not a pretty sight, everyone. It's not great. So I built the studio and I laid out so much money, and I will say to you that 1/3 of it, one third was a waste. I will never learn Pro Tools. I have used Source Connect once, and those were 2 of the largest. That was a $1,400 to $1,500 cost. My microphone, worth its weight in gold, will likely, when we go back into studios, come with me.
Yes. And
a pop screen and everything. And then the thing that if you get a mic that isn't a USB, everyone, you need to get an interface, that middleman, that interface. It brings the mic and the computer together. Scarlett with 2 T's at the end, 212 or 2i2 has 2 ports. Super dumb, easy to use. Or if you're fancy schmancy, an Apogee Duet. It is so Apple, it is so intuitive, but dude, it is $799. And I want you to know that every day that I bought something, and then because it was the beginning of COVID, it was like, will arrive in 12 weeks. And I was like, 12 weeks. But every time I bought something, my Capital One card would go, are you sure? Yeah. And I'm like, I know what I'm doing. Please don't remind me. It is all, I'm fine. Andy Candi is fine. It all worked out well. But it was, also my computer died and my printer died. So it was just HELL. Oh, Lauren K had to go. That's great. Are there any other questions?
Okay.
He's really great. Keith Farley could be really great just because he's incredibly intuitive, and because I think he comes from musical theater, he really understands youth. He understands everybody's different voices. And Keith is Keythe, last name Farley, Farley. Zoom classes, Richard Horvitz, Zoom classes, Dave Walsh, Zoom classes. I will deliver to Gigi or to TJ a list of everything that I'm talking about and everybody that I mentioned. What I really wanted to get across to you is that you are still at the audition phase. Don't put out a ton of dough. Just let everybody know that you have access to studio grade equipment, whether that is at somebody's self-isolating house or any small studio that is open, you know, in New York. Charmaine Poman, Pomann, sound, is who does my Connection Open. And we record Looney Tunes every Monday at 9 a.m. Thank you very much. Which is like the middle of the night to me. We record, but we go through Pullman Sound, and they're in Brooklyn. So yeah, in a house. So that's all I wanted to tell you. I wanted to give you some idea of pricing. what you need to do. But for the time being, we are looking at least the next 3 years auditioning from home, just because agencies have been so devastated that they have let off staff, and it's just really hard to get a bunch of people to record you. It's crazy. But I want to assure you that Voiceover is alive and kicking, and people are working. They are casting people. My friend Sarah Sherman, who casts for Disney and for everything, or who had cast for Disney for years, she is looking at every agency. It is all about the agent having a relationship with casting and you having a relationship with your agent. So I will always say to you, agents like to be entertained. And as I said to my daughter, which I'm surprised that she's not in therapy, I always tell her, find a personality in there when you call our agents. Find a personality. They don't want to hear how hot you are walking around. So, yeah, I think that's it. And Liana asked, how would you recommend constructing a voiceover reel with no VO experience? I would go to actors' websites, Liana, and listen to their demo tapes. That's what I would do, so that you can hear what it sounds like. And there'll be commercials, and they'll have narration, and they'll have animation, and listen to how they do it. And then I would say you can get your own education if studying with somebody is not in your budget, by watching cartoons and listening to what it sounds like, and then imagine doing that in person. Imagining what it would take to do that in person. And there is a certain energy for animation that happens. And the energy has to be as if you're performing in a theme park, or that you're a stand-up. It has to be big and loud and fast and funny. It really does. It's like no other discipline out there. And whenever I've worked with a lot of on-camera actors, thank God, on games, and I was like saying to myself, does somebody want to wake him up and let him know that I am bored to death by what he is doing here? But you know, there's all kinds, and that's what I would do. Also YouTube, to understand clips. Many times YouTube will only put up a 10-second clip of a cartoon. That should tell you exactly that should show you exactly how long your characters need to be talking to create a believable character. And again, I'll say, if you believe it, I'll believe it. I mean, who would have thought that this guy was like Russian and French, like, right? But I believed it, so everybody else believed it. Follow? Make sense? Anybody else? Questions? Answers? No?
No, wow. You've covered a lot of ground. I mean, and you delivered it in such a perfect way. I think we're all going to be incredible voiceover artists, Candi. You better watch out for this group.
Thank you. I know, and I'm already afraid of a couple of you, FYI. But I do want you to know that I believe in an inverted pyramid, and I think the sad people are on the bottom, and that there is plenty of room and plenty of space and plenty of work and plenty of love and plenty of joy and plenty of jobs for all of us. No one can take your man, your family, or your job. It's either yours or it isn't. Don't hate, don't copy, be yourself, create voices, watch people. That's where all of my characters come from. For all of my big mouth talking, I'm one hell of an observer, because I have watched all of you watch me while I'm talking. And I can see what's landing and what isn't. And I think that's probably because years and years and years ago, my dad was a stand-up, and we used to go and watch him perform, and we'd all watch the audience to see what jokes landed and what didn't. But I don't believe in false positivity. These are tough times. We don't have money. Theater for the time being is on hold. we're struggling to find a new normal. Although if it's normal, what does it need new in front of it? I call it a new, a new existence. And I believe that work is still available. It just isn't as easy as it was. But those of us who have been doing this for years, we're not taking all the work. That's just BS. Don't let anybody tell you that I'm taking all your work, and if you can knock me down, then you can get my jobs. That ain't it. You know what I mean? That ain't it. These jobs are out there for anyone to take. You just have to do it the right way and not be a bucket lister, not just do it for the heck of it. If I could do one and then I'd be happy. You'll do one and then that's it, So I would just say, do what you're doing and do it well and do it right. Now, which websites are the best to submit for VO? Yes. Actors Access, Liana, would be a great place for you to look. Also, Backstage has auditions. Just beware that you will be in charge of doing this professionally, and you will be in charge of getting yourself paid. But absolutely. I always used to tell people when I taught that reading children's books like The Three Little Pigs and Snow White, but like the ones that are like thick paper, really simple words, and becoming all of the people in that story and doing every character in a different voice is the greatest way you could ever practice. And I will leave you guys with one super quick story, and that is when I auditioned for Tiny Toons, I prepared The Three Little Pigs and I was just going to read it, and I had gotten some very bad news. So I went to my callback, not knowing that Steven Spielberg would be there in a ball gown and high-topped glow-in-the-dark army boots and a tiara, just so you know. And that's just for Wendy, because we're the weirdest girls that we know. And so I went to Hanna-Barbera, and that used to be the place in LA where the car was in the roof, the Flintstones mobile, and now it's like a gym. Now it's like a Gold's Gym. But I remember walking in these army boots and this dress that I had bought from Aardvark, that was a taffeta ball gown, and doing my thing and leaving. And then halfway through, the voice director, which was Andrea Romano, asked me what would happen to the voices if I had had too much to drink. And so I made the Three Little Pigs suicidal, and I made the wolf kosher. So, and then it changed, and then I just made up dialogue and just made it up. And as I walked out, the world's smallest man came out. It was Steven Spielberg, and he said, "You're very good at this, very, and you should be doing this." And I was like, God, do people tell you that you look, I swear to God, I said this. Do people tell you that you look like Steven Spielberg? And he was like, every day, actually. And I was like, that's so cool. Thank you so much. And walked away and got in my little rabbit diesel and was like, could that have been Steven Spielberg? And I did get it. So just so you know, but that's why I'm saying don't look to go pro immediately. Read stuff, practice your voices. I keep a small book by me, and if I get an idea, like do you remember Ed Wynn? Oh, certainly. Well, I do that voice, and I call her Edwina Wynn, don't you know? And I write that down, and she's in almost every cartoon, don't you know, that I ever do. And that's the kind of stuff that you write in and that you practice and you go in and record, and you listen to it. And the more that you practice, the more vast and rubbery these muscles in your voice become. Those of you who are singers know if you don't warm up, if you don't stretch, if you're belting on the same B flat, B, C, you are just going to wear that portion of your chord out. Do something where you have a little tiny girl voice, and then an old lady voice, and then a crazy voice like the flea from Mucha Lucha. And just keep practicing. It also helps to be like semi-mentally ill. That helps. I live alone. Gee, I wonder why, Gee. I don't know. I don't know. I did see a psychic before lockdown, and he said that I'd meet a man in April. So unless he drives for Instacart, I think he meant next April.
He didn't say what year.
He didn't say what year. Exactly.
What year? Just said in April.
Just said in April. Oh,
that's my God. Month.
Yeah, also I wanted to say, because I see, last thing before I go, there is a girl on here named Kayla Strada, and I met her in a really great online Zoom class that G. Charles Wright teaches, and that's online acting, and it's he teaches auditioning for film and television, and I think he's pretty awesome. And it is I will put that in my list to send to Gigi, but you could email his assistant, John M. Keating, Keating, at gmail.com. John M. as in Milo, Keating at gmail.com. It's he has a lot of people, and I forget where Kayla was taking from. And it's really an amazing class. And I've taken August off because I'm doing more teaching, and I am starting a new animated series where they have me booked every Thursday and Friday for just this month. So it was a little more than I could chew, but it's one of the greatest things that I've ever taken. It's super reasonable. They may or may not be doing pay what you can, but it's $250 for the month, but people were paying $100, $50, whatever they could pay. And it's pretty amazing. So that could be helpful for just a straight acting class. And by the way, Kayla's truly amazing, a wonderful, wonderful actress. And that is my piece. I have nothing. I wanted to encourage you to explore inexpensive ways to begin. Don't start at mile 5. Like my friend, and I think Wendy is the girl that said this to me. You would never start a dance class kicking above your head. You gotta warm up. Don't feel like I need to go and be Candi or Gray or Tara Strong or Rob Paulson. You need to be you. You don't need to copy, but the information is out there. People are willing to help. People are willing to cut you a break. You cannot take a job from me. I cannot take a job from you. We can only help each other. And it can be as cheap as $69 for a mic that plugs into your computer, up to me like maxing out a credit card, because this is what I do. This is what I am professional at. I was on a Zoom meeting where somebody accused me of being an elite, that I didn't want to go back in the studio because I'm an elite voice actor that was able to pay for the equipment. And I said, I'm still paying for the equipment on my Capital One card, and I am a professional, and this is what I'm doing. I'm not breaking in, trying to take a job away from somebody who chooses to stay home. I am at this level because I'm old and pretty and tired, but I'm old, man, and I've been doing this forever. But you don't need to do this, and you never need to pay to play. Don't let anybody take your money to audition. Walk away, but not before you do that. Walk away. Walk away. So
that's right.
Yeah, that is all I got, you guys. If you have any questions, candi.milo@gmail.com. I'll help you as much as I can, and I will send Gigi the list of everything that I talked about, because I write super tiny.
I love Post-its. I live on those.
I live on Post-its. It's how
Yeah.
I've been able to lose my pre-COVID weight, is that I have Post-its all over the house, especially in the refrigerator, that go, really?
Yeah, I know, right?
Really? I'm like, I don't need it. I'll get on.
Mine says walk away. Just walk
away.
away.
Just walk away.
Walk away.
And that's what I often do, because I like to live in a no drama zone. So I will always just kind of walk away. So I hope that I have helped you. I know I talk so fast, super loud too, which is awesome. But these are just my recommendations. If you find something less expensive, share it with Gigi. Screen Actors Guild has, if you're a member, it has a great Don LaFontaine lab there. They also have free classes there, casting directors, and they will give you pointers and insights, but you have the tools that you need inside of you now, and no one needs to give you permission to be all that you can be.
Well, you know, there's no obstacle, really. You can get all this stuff. Everything's available, you know, through this. And we can access anything in the world, any bit of information. We can buy anything by just clicking this. So we have these opportunities now. If this is what you really want to do, there's no door you have to walk into. You can just break down doors by making this happen yourself. Candi gave you so much information that was just so wonderful. Candi, I mean, this is like masterclass. We deliver when we say masterclass here at 3DU. We do indeed.
I hope that what everybody got mostly was, though, how to read a page.
Yeah.
Because I can tell you that breaking down a page in an audition is the difference between booking and not booking. And you don't need a class to learn how to break down a page. I just told you how to do it, but you do need a class if acting is not your strong suit. And you need a class if you want to explore accents, if you want to explore characters that are out of your comfort zone, out of your swearing zone, out of your wheelhouse. And so that was great. I was lucky on Tiny Toons. It was a master class. I sat between Frank Welker and Dawes Butler, two of the greatest voiceover actors, who showed me how to separate my pages, who told me that my mic is always live and to turn quiet. I mean, there are things that a class can give you that those guys taught me on the job, but don't think that it makes you less than to study, because as Kayla can say, and as Wendy knows by taking dance and teaching, it's where you learn where your weaknesses are, so that you know what you have to work on. Mm-hmm. To be competitive, and that's it. G, just the initial G, Charles Wright, W-R-I-G-H-T, and his assistant is John M. Keating, Keating @gmail.com, and you can email him, and then you can blame me that you're going to flood his email box.
Tell him all that Candi sent you.
Yes, it's my pleasure. No, I'm so glad.
Thank you enough for sharing this amazing information.
Yay.
You were just so wonderful. Your generosity of spirit and giving, you know, you've been down this road, you've seen it, you've learned the hard way, and here you are sharing your gifts with everyone, and we couldn't be more grateful to you. What a loving, wonderful gift you've given all of us.
People have been very kind to me. I'll pay it forward. Been very kind to me. I didn't get here alone.
Well, we're not alone. We're all in this together. And
yes,
you know, your success, and for all of you, your future success is for everybody's success. And especially I see a lot of girl power in this room. Woo! Woo woo. The girls have it. So we need to stick together and raise each other up.
Yeah. Here we go, guys. Nowhere to go at this point but up.
That's right. We're gonna
and let's take these first few steps. Art lives. If we make it live, the theater will come back. I'm not sure when, but it will come back because art lives. Art lives.
Sure does. We're real hoping for that. Well, until we can gather again in the beautiful Cerrito Center for the Performing Arts, so we can get Candi Milo back there up on stage, cracking me up, where she could probably hear me from the back of the house laughing at her.
I was going to say, Wendy and I have already decided that we have our pickle outfits. And I'm the Imogene Coca pickle.
Oh,
so
awesome.
I'm ready. We're going to be hitting it hard. I hope that this has sparked some joy in you to continue voiceover. I love what I do, but mostly I love the people that I work with, because they're all just really good people. And I put my email there. If anybody has any questions, hit a sister up and I will get back to you as quickly as I can. And again, you don't have to spend money to make money. You don't, right?
No, you don't. You're just hard work. Let's just go out there and get it. You guys, I'm so excited for you. Candi, thank you so much, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this session of 3D+U. We're coming back Friday. It's going to be Friday was the end of our term for 3D+U. And we're going to have 2 great sessions on Friday. We'll post on Instagram and Facebook. Then after that, we'll be showing special master class events and other things that will be special events. We'll let you know through our Facebook, Instagram, website, you know, e-blast, all that fun stuff. So keep an eye out. Again, Candi, Milo, love you.
Love you. Bye, Cheech.
Bye, everybody.